This training video will be for how to start a new job within Dash. After all of the lead intake form information is taken, this is where you will go, if you follow my mouse, right to this little folder with the plus button on it, and you click on that. From here, we're going to have to fill in everything that happens. So going from left to right across, this job was received by me, Farmingdale. The priority is low, medium, high. We'll put this as a high loss water job. The job name is always going to be last name, comma, first name. Then you're going to hyphen it, and you're going to put in the town, or I think it was anywhere, according to our other jobs. And it will be Main Street. So you'll put last name, first name, hyphen, town name, hyphen, street name. You'll go for the date of loss. Well, they just called it in today. The loss type here, this would be a water loss that we had. Who reported it? This would be who called in the loss. So we'll say that we had an in-house marketing person, whether it's an employee or one of our marketing reps. So one of our marketing reps called us, that would be this one. If it was from a lead generator, home advisor, eLocal, you would click here. The property owner would be if they received our number from somebody. So we'll say the property owner called us in themselves. The loss category, well, is it a commercial, multifamily, residential, single family home? At that point, we would hit residential home. The secondary loss type isn't important. If you did get that information, great. We'll call this fixture water line. The referred by at this point would be the company that referred us. So we had gotten this on one of the other videos from Brandon Schlott, B-R-A-N-D-O-N. You want to make sure we have Brandon and Schlott, but we want his agency, not the broker, but the company. So that would be Allstate, Brandon Schlott Agency, and here's your company. Click on him. Environmental code, we don't have to concern ourselves with on this. The source of loss would be a fixture water line. Let's say it was a sink. We'll go ahead with the sink. The job size, well, made it sound like it was a medium-sized job, and the CAT reference doesn't need to be had. The next section would be, well, first thing that we want to do is see if it's an individual or if it's a company that called us. For this case, we're going to say it's just an individual. It's not a property owner or anything that's calling in for one of their other properties. So it's same person, same address. First thing that we always do is we search the database to make sure this was not an old client of ours. So we would put in here Smith, comma, Joe, and we'll see that there's nobody named Joe Smith. You could always just do Smith, and you could always slide on down till you get to the end. That's 10. But in this case, we know that this is not an existing client of ours. So we're going to have to go ahead. We're going to fill in the first name. We're going to move to the last name, the email, none@none.com. Secondary email, we don't have to worry about. The address was 123 Main Street, and I don't think they'll come up with anything, but sometimes if you have a zip code, we'll call it Farmingdale. So 11735, it'll automatically fill it on out for you, and it'll populate the other items here. We have a main phone number of 1-234-567-89, and we'll call that the phone number. All of these items with red need to be filled in, or else we cannot go ahead and save this job. Is the customer information the same as the job address? Yes, it is. Perfect. So now we're going to bill the same customer and it's the same address. Hit that button, it'll auto-populate. Now we have our internal participants. Depending on the job type, things are written on the whiteboard at your desk for who should be applied to certain spots. Being this is a water job, the coordinator in this case will always be Freddie. So Fred McKnight would go into here. Let's say the person that we're going to spike the job is going to go in the supervisor spot. So we have Dan going to spike our job. We don't know who the foreman is, so we're going to leave that blank. The accounting section always goes to Corey. And the marketing for this job was done through Brandon Schlott, who we found out is one of Donna's agencies. So the salesperson we don't need anymore, nor do we need the TR office anymore. The estimator will be filled out by Freddie along with the foreman. We now have our external participants. Well, we know the broker came from Brandon Schlott, so we can put that in. Once we put that in, the broker agent, if we hit this, it'll only show the people in Brandon's office that are associated with this account. So you can go ahead and click on Brandon. We know that it was also Allstate. So we'll find out Allstate Insurance Company. And once again, when we click on this, it will only tell us people associated with Allstate. Let's say Patrick Benjamin was our primary adjuster. We don't have a field adjuster. There's no property management. If it was a contractor that gave us the job, let's say a plumber, we would put the plumber in here. AJS plumbing, let's call it. Here's AJS, or you could type it in. So if it wasn't Brandon Schlott's agency and it was a plumber, you would have that in here. In this case, it was Brandon, so we're not going to play around. There's an independent adjuster or any of these other items. If this job was given to us through a TPA, we can click on here and we could see what TPAs are here. Sedgwick would be the answer, or Nexus, and the person assigned it to it. That's pretty much it for the external participants. Here's the policy info. Do we have a policy number? If we do, we'll just type it in. Do we have a claim number? Usually we won't have a claim number immediately because we're going out for an assessment. Sometimes we'll have that claim number immediately. If we do, pop it in. Policy start date, we don't need any of that yet. That number exists. We'll have to, that number exists. Will not let me save duplicate claim numbers, which is nice. Let's try. There we go. So now we have a claim number that is not associated with another job. We don't need a file number because it'll generate everything for us. A year built, if you have that, great. Usually we don't. Next step up is the division. You can come through here and see all of our different divisions. In this case, we know that it's a water mitigation. We're assuming that it's going to be a covered loss. So we'll hit the water mitigation button. There is an out-of-pocket division, but that's only for something, say, seepage-wise. The category and class, that would be up to somebody else to fill out. Usually, we're not sure of what the deductibles are right away, but we might have it. If we do have it, we could say deductible required, yes. The amount we could put here, let's say we put in no. Deductible amount we found out on the phone was $1,500. Just great information to have in our system. Then it comes to the loss description. Homeowner called loss from Brandon Schlott agency. Immediately, we need to have the first part is the referral source here. The referral source lets us know right away who we're dealing with and how sensitive something may be. If this is a new referral agency, right before homeowner, and we never got a job, put new referral source, and then start with everything else. So-and-so agency, however it may be. So Brandon Schlott agency, water loss affecting the basement. Fred McKnight is alerted. Just a real quick note, nothing crazy. Special instructions would be used if there is a gate code or a door code for a lockbox, or if possibly the client has a special needs child, or if it's a mother of an agent or something, would go into the special instructions. And then here we would click and drag over to here, possible rooms affected, if you know it. If not, it's not a problem. Your next step would be save and go to slide board. There is still one more step to go. Once this is opened up, you're going to look through everywhere, make sure that everything is as it should be. Brandon, Allstate, you check out all the information you put in, the coordinator, more participants. Yep, Estimator and foreman blank, perfect. Homeowner's information, confirm the phone number is correct, email address and the address is correct. And all this, we have a claim number. Yep, everything else looks nice and pretty. Next step would be hitting the pencil button, and right after the job number, put another hyphen and then the last name. This is important because this is how it relates to the app on the mobile devices for the techs out in the field. Hit save, and that is how you start a new job up in Dash. The only other thing you might want to do is if you are the one that contacted the customer, you would go ahead and you would enter a note into here. You would click this off. If you went and assigned the paperwork to Freddie or Dan or Vinny or someone, you would go ahead and just hit that check button, reassign to employee, and we're going to reassign this to, let's say, Fred McKnight. It'll now take that and reassign that, so Fred knows once he contacts a client, he has to put that item in. Lastly will be a lead intake. That would be for the person that did take the call. In order to process that, we're going to hit this button, browse. We're going to go into our share file, job folder, prospective jobs, down to Smith, and here's our Smith lead intake form. Put that in there, hit complete this task as it's doing right now, just taking a while to load up. Once that lead intake is done, the whole process of starting a job is complete. Dash is taking an incredibly long time tomorrow, but for purpose of the videos, this will go away. This task will then be gone, just like it just popped up now, and your whole starting a job in Dash will be complete.